Hello again. Today I'm going to continue talking about members of the body. When you want to talk about members of the body, as previous weeks that I talked about, there is some expression about members of the body. And today I'm gonna talk about stomach. There is a different expression about the stomach. And today we are going to discuss it. First one is can't stomach, or someone or something. Can't stomach someone, can't stomach something. To dislike someone or something very much. When you hate something or when you hate somebody, that's can't stomach. It means that. For example, I cannot stomach the new woman I work with. I cannot. Then, next one is difficult to stomach. Again, someone or something. To be unable to accept someone, to be unable to accept something that you think is unpleasant or wrong. Because I know this is not right. So this is not right, and then I cannot accept that. I cannot accept. For example, it is difficult to stomach false teachers when they begin to start telling lies. I don't know why there are so many liars in the church. I don't know why. Nobody could answer me that. Because it's not right. Eyes are bigger than one's stomach is the next expression. Taking more food than one can eat. I told you before, when you want to eat, and your stomach is full and you cannot eat again and you insist on eating, then your eyes are bigger than one's stomach. When they eat too much, their eyes get open. That's it. My eyes were bigger than my stomach when I went to the buffet table and took too much food. Or as example is different situation. When you go to a restaurant and you see all the food and you want to eat all of them, or you can go to all you can eat buffet and you eat and fill your cup, fill your plate, just you fill your table with a lot of things. But you cannot eat them. You're gonna waste the food. So stop wasting the food. Eat as much as you need. Don't eat too much. Because you're going to waste the food. Get butterflies in one's stomach. To get a feeling of fear or anxiety in one's stomach. Getting butterfly is a feeling. It can be positive, it can be negative. When you have a crush on somebody, you feel butterfly when you see that person. Or if you hate somebody, again maybe you feel butterfly when you see that person. It can be positive or negative. For example, normally when you see somebody that you like, or you feel butterfly, or negative like, I got butterfly in my stomach just before I took a test. When you are stressed, when you have a stress, you feel butterfly. And the next one is not have the stomach full. To have no desire to do something because you think that is unpleasant or wrong. First, sometimes you don't have a stomach for something. And then if you have a stomach for that thing that is pleasant for you, then you don't have a bone for that thing. That's two different things. When you don't have a bone for something, it means that you cannot do that. But if you don't have a stomach for something, it means that it's not your desire. Recently, actually today, I guess it was today, it's not recently, just today, I feel being creative, and I was creative and wrote a song. Just, it come like that. Just like that, I wrote a song based on the Christmas song. So sometimes when there is something pleasant to you, just like that, you get inspired and say it. Turn someone's stomach. To make someone feel sick, to disgust someone. When you do something, when you say, the sight of dog on the road turns my stomach. Whenever I see a dog on the street, unfortunately, there are a lot of dogs on the street. Whenever I see a dog on the street, it turns my stomach. So I disgust someone or something. You physically be sick. When there is somebody who sends a negative energy, they send energy, and those energies are wrong, so you feel sick. Physically and literally you feel sick in the presence of somebody. The way to a man's heart is through his stomach. You've heard it a lot. They say when you want to impress a man, cook a meal for that man. That's why I prepare food for you guys. I want to impress men. That's why it's a full-time job. It appears to somebody it's not important, but preparing food for a lot of people on social media is a full-time job. Cooking for a man is a good way to win his affection. An army marches on its stomach. You must eat properly if you want to perform tasks well. Normally, a lot of defeat in big battles depends on the food. Soldiers didn't have food and they were weak and they couldn't fight. So an army moves if you want to move it. If you like to move it, you have to feed the army and then the army moves. But if somebody like me get hungry all the time, so I cannot move it. I cannot. At first I have to fill my stomach and be full, and then I can do what I want to do. Sour stomach or upset stomach. Unable to digest easily, difficulty in digest. Sometimes when you take a pill, I want to be clear, I believe in pills. Sometimes when you take your pills, your stomach upset. You're gonna upset the stomach and then you cannot digest food. A stomach churning. If you're describing something as a stomach churning, you mean that it is so unpleasant that it makes you feel physically sick again. Again, listen carefully. Sometimes, nowadays, doctors say that some of the bodily pain, some of the illness related to the non-physical reason. Sometimes you don't know. When you enter a room, you have never entered that room, you feel sick. And you don't know why. Why I feel sick when I enter that room that I have never been in that room. So sometimes it's like this. Your energy, and if you believe in karma or you believe in, I don't know, aura or something, that doesn't match. When you go to a room that you have never been in that room, you feel sick. And you see, oh, something is wrong here, I don't know. And you cannot point your finger on it, but you see, you feel that something wrong here. And you can say, I know this is not right. You cannot point finger at it. You cannot blame anybody because you don't know what's the reason. But there is something wrong. Beer belly, a man's fat stomach caused by excessive consumption of beer. When you consume beer too much, then you maybe get fat, or if you didn't get fat, you have a beer belly, fat stomach. On these dives, it was all or nothing. There could be no half-hearted commitment, because the slightest hesitation usually produced a stinking belly buster. Another definition is a belly buster is someone who masturbates will prefer to ejaculate onto his stomach rather than using a tissue. Definition of belly up: hopelessly ruined or defeated, especially bankrupt, the business went belly up. If you remember, if you have read the Old Testament, there was somebody that there was a couple, wife and husband. Husband dies. And in ancient time, there was a custom that brother of husband marry with the wife. That was a custom. And then they get married. But that man was so, how can I describe him? Was so disgusting, was so jealous. And he didn't want to have a child of his brother. Because that was the reason. That was the reason when, there was a reason for doing that custom. When a couple, and the man dies, not the woman. When the man dies, the brother of that man marry the wife of deceased. Because they want to continue the family name of that person. I don't know why, it doesn't make sense. Because he can continue family of his own. He didn't have to marry the wife of his brother to continue. But that was a custom. I cannot argue that. And although I don't understand it, but it doesn't mean that it's wrong, because sometimes you don't understand something and they have a good reason for that. But I don't like it and I'm not vote for it. Okay, so there was a man married wife of his brother, and when they had sex, he didn't allow himself to get woman pregnant. I don't know how can I describe it, but I don't know exact phrase on the Bible, but you have to put the sperm on somebody to get pregnant. So he didn't allow his sperm enter to that woman. So he was a failure. There was no future child. That sex was total failure because there was no future children. And that's all about today's stomach. So we have some expression about stomach.